Welcome back. Feels like we've been gone forever. This is Sweep the League. I am Trey Collis, and with me, as always, is Coach Gio. That is with two O's, not one. We'll get into that a little bit later on Twitter. The other Coach Gio's he's kind of copying Gio a little bit. I'm sorry about my daughter. Anyway. We have a great show for y'all tonight. Man, I can't. We got a lot of stuff. We got NCAA championships going on. We got Alabama, Georgia 2. Actually, is it 3? Can Kirby Smart finally get over the hump and beat Nick Saban? Or does he just panic and Nick Saban have his number? Again, we'll ask Coach Gio, the Bulldog himself, that question. Also, AB in the Bucks. Whose story do you believe? I mean, that is a mess in heaven right now. I don't know who you believe. I know who I believe, but I'm going to get back into it a little bit later. And also, we have all your NFL playoff scenarios, needs, whatever in case may go into week 18, final week before the playoffs start. But before we get into that, you can follow us all on Twitter. You can follow me at Trade3025, Rudy at Sweep the League, Coach Gio at Coach Gio with 2 O's, and Will Nation, which I don't know where he's at tonight. He can follow him at Will Nation 7, and Austin Hartsfield at Hartsfield MLB. We need to get him back on as well. But before I go any further, Gio, how was your New Year's, Christmas, everything? How's everything going, man?
It was good. It was a good time. Good time to relax, recharge the battery, and get ready for the new year. Georgia did win. They took care of Michigan as I thought they would. And no, I mean, Spurs still suck. So, I mean, hey, there's not a lot going on right now.
The Spurs, I'm going to probably get into this a little bit later too when we have a little bit of time. But the Spurs, do they suck or do they just play?
They don't suck. They're just a young team trying to navigate their way through the season. They've had some good wins against Golden State and against a few other teams, but they're starting to hit a wall. They got some guys on COVID, I think. So
they have 3 more added today.
That's going to be tough. But I think it's a good team, and they could make a run at that play-in game possible. So, I guess we'll wait and see. They don't suck. They're just not consistent in what Pop's envisioning this team. But I think they've grown a lot, and, we're definitely not worse than the Magic.
That's very much true. Question I don't know if you know what's going on with Becky Hammond, but she basically just got hired as the Las Vegas Aces head coach. Congratulations to Becky Hammond. But she's doing double duty right now. Not only is she the head coach and general manager of the Aces, she's still an assistant coach for the Spurs, and she's going to be there till the end of the season. Is this a good move on her part, or should she just say screw it and go and be a head coach?
Well, she's defining the Spurs way, doing what you're supposed to do, right? Finish the season off. And, I have to give her kudos because if it was me, Trey, I would have left Las Vegas already. So, honestly, I'm surprised she's staying. But for people who are saying that she's downgraded and she's doing all this and that, no, she hasn't. She could still come back to the NBA. She's interviewed already for NBA teams, right? Mm-hmm. So she's already laid kind of that foundation. I think she'll do great in the WNBA. She's a great mind, great basketball player, and I'm extremely happy for her. It sucks that she couldn't potentially take over for Pop, but she got her opportunity, and she's going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, good for her. She was baffling with it off and on, of what it seems like. And when she went to these interviews, it seems like all of them were saying, you don't have any head coaching experience. Well, hell, that's what she's trying to get, right? And so the Ace called Colin. They wanted her really, really bad, gave her general manager and the head coaching job. Now she's going to get that head coaching experience, and she has probably 2 of the top 10 players in the WNBA on that team. So she's going to get that experience. Good job, Becky Hammond. But if it was me, I'd be I'd just do Aces and say screw y'all. But she's doing it the Spurs way, and she's just doing everything she can. So, but anyway, we'll get into talk a little NFL action right now for you as well, because I know Gio cannot wait to talk about this. If you've been living under a rock and don't know what's going on, the Jets were losing or beating the Buccaneers by 2 touchdowns, double digit, 10 points, whatever the case may be, in the third quarter. And then AB throws his pads, gets fat. And that's what we saw from the sidelines is he got mad, went to the locker room, and it looked like he just quit. Now the stories are starting to come out, right? Now the stories are like Bruce Arians cut him because he didn't want to go in the game because he wasn't going to get his – AB says he wasn't going to get his incentives. And then AB comes out and has his side of the story in which he actually has an MRI, says he has ligaments torn off his bone and stuff like that. Bruce Arians says if you can't play hurt, you're not going to play for this team. I just want to know, Gio, does AB have any credibility left where you believe in him, or is this all another mental health issue for AB right now?
I'm not sure what to believe. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. I mean, AB said apparently AB didn't know he was hurt, and he was hurt. He wasn't hurt. I do know that Antonio Brown was upset because he came to the time. He says, "Hey, so you're going to keep throwing your boy the ball and not me?" I mean, all this type of stuff that Antonio Brown does, and he leaves. Why not just stay, close it out, and if you're really hurt, go to the locker room? Like, what's the whole point of doing all this extra activity, and then now you still want to get paid? What? It's just his mental health is obviously unstable. He needs help. I mean, we saw what happened with the Raiders, right? I mean, he called Mike Mayock a cracker and all this other stuff, which maybe was warranted. I have no idea. But nonetheless, everywhere he's gone, I have to give kudos still to Mike Tomlin for having to deal with this guy. And for me, it wasn't until that incident where he recorded the post game after they just beat the Chiefs in that playoff game. He goes Facebook Live, and you can hear Mike Tomlin cursing about the Patriots and what they're going to do to them. You don't do that. It doesn't matter. It's all about Antonio Brown. But guess what, Dre? He's going to be on a football team next season. I can guarantee that. His talent is just too much. Who's going to deal with it? I have no idea. But just a very strange situation. And for Tampa Bay, this is tough, Trey, because they've already lost Chris Godwin for the year. You lose Antonio Brown. Now it's Mike Evans, who still has that hamstring problem.
And then you have Fournette, who's still out with the hamstring right now.
They have some young, capable receivers. Tom has played well with them. But the Bucs right now, they're kind of limping into the playoffs. And I'm not sure who they're going to play in that first round. But I'm going to tell you what, I don't want no part of the team that we're about to play this week in the 49ers. Because for some reason, that team can run the football very well, and I think they can give Tampa or any team in the first round some tough fits.
Well, like you said, the 49ers run the ball really well and go into town. And that's one thing Tampa Bay does extremely well is stopping the run, even though they couldn't do it against the Jets and for whatever reason that was on last Sunday night. But I would, like you're right, I would not want to face this 49er teams. But even before this whole AB thing, I just didn't have the Bucs going to the Super Bowl. I just didn't. The teams that are scaring me right now are the 49ers, the Rams if they get hot. I know you're shocked by me saying that, but the Rams defense is scaring me a little bit. And if Mike, what's his name, your head coach, who sticks to the run, if he can stick to the run,
hey, listen.
Y'all can win the Super Bowl.
What's crazy is that Darrell Henderson's on IR. He'll be back for the playoffs. Sony Michel's been a beast. But Cam Akers is set to play on Sunday after rupturing his Achilles in the summer.
Would you play him, though?
He's been cleared by doctors, Trey, and I've been watching him every month work out. And it's astonishing how he's cutting, he's doing this, and obviously it's different from game, but the doctors have cleared him, Trey, and he's going to play. We'll see how it goes. I mean, listen, Kevin Durant didn't come back until a year later for his ruptured Achilles. So I'm a little hesitant, but if the doctors are clearing you, he's cutting, he's doing all the things to get back onto the field, within less than around 6 months, which is insane. If he comes back remotely, even the player he once was, we saw him against the Packers in the playoff game. He ran for like 130 yards. So, and if the Rams want to do anything, they're going to have to go back to Green Bay to win a playoff game. So, nonetheless, if the Rams can run the football, play good defense, and Stafford can keep those interceptions and those turnovers, he's a high turnover guy. But think about this. Joe Burrow is like, second in interceptions?
Yep.
Pat Mahomes is pretty high. So a lot of the guys who are going to the playoffs, they have a lot of interceptions. So I guess it's starting to be a little diluted in a way. But still, take care of the ball. But yeah, no, I think the 49ers are going to be a tough out for any team they play. And could be the Eagles, too. They've been playing really well.
Yeah, Eagles are playing really well, but do you trust? I mean, I feel like they're ahead of their schedule. I think
they've peaked pretty quick, and I thought they were a year or two behind, and they've kind of did what the Bills did last year, right? Like we thought the Bills would be good, but they were ahead of schedule, and then make it to the championship game. But I guess we'll find out to see with the Eagles and. The Rams could play the Saints, so that would be a weird, great, but also a tough matchup. Their defense is really good, but their offense is trash. At least their quarterback is.
Yeah, they have no quarterback solution right now for the Saints, and the Saints have a great. Everyone's saying that I think ESPN had them at like 48% chance to make the playoffs or whatever the case may be. I say it's a little higher than that because. The 49ers lose, which they could because they play, guess who? The Rams. And if they win, they're in. And the Saints are playing Atlanta. I know it's a divisional game, but Atlanta has shown that they're not good at all. We don't trust. But this will be the game Atlanta wins, right? But the Saints have a good shot. And you're right. That Saints-Rams will be a good matchup. I think it'll be a defensive battle. But I still pick the Rams in that matchup if the case may happen because of the quarterback situation, even though I'm not a big fan of Matthew Stafford. I think he's a high turnover. He hasn't proven himself in the playoffs. He's only had one playoff game against my Dallas Cowboys.
Which
he lost.
Bad call, but
there was more to that than that. Oh, my God. There's how he plays in a game.
I get it, but that was a pretty bad call.
I was at that game, all right?
He has a much better team, though. And he's listen, in the fourth quarter, he has the highest QBR this season in the fourth quarter. He in the second half of the games, he's been tremendous. The first half, he's trying things, he's daredeviling it up, but the second half, he seems to be on cue. And 11 touchdowns and no interceptions in the fourth quarter this year. So he's been tremendous when it really matters. He's had some tough games, but guess what? So is Dak Prescott. So is Kyler Murray. So is everyone else. So
not Aaron Rodgers.
Well, he had that first blunder against the Saints, right?
Yeah,
don't get me started on Aaron Rodgers. He's so annoying, condescending, all that other stuff. But
anyway, let's go to Aaron Rodgers because that's a great segue right there, buddy. Do you agree with the Chicago Bears beat writer that he's not voting for Aaron Rodgers because he is a jerk and he's not the nicest guy in the league? And then Aaron Rodgers comes out and calls him a bum. Is Aaron Rodgers a jerk and doesn't deserve the MVP?
Well, listen. I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but let's be real. He's the MVP this season so far. He's been playing tremendous, the number one seed, right? They're going to get to the postseason, and he's playing. I mean, Tom Brady's been up and down.
I'm not saying
Tom's been inconsistent. Who else are we going to give that to? Jonathan Taylor?
That's who I'm saying. Where would the Colts be without Jonathan Taylor?
Sure, why not? But Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. He's the name. He's going to get it. But I think it's unfair, though, because he just said in the offseason, he made up his mind. Before the season even started, it's a bit biased. I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but listen, he's going to be the MVP, whether you like it or not. And let's be real. Where is this beat writer at?
Chicago.
And what does that mean? The Bears, and I live in Chicago, they hate the Packers with their last dying breath. They hate them. So I'm not surprised by this. And I don't think it's so much the COVID vaccine either, the whole thing. I just think deep down they just don't like Packers. But Aaron, just because he doesn't know Aaron doesn't mean Aaron's not a jerk, because he is, and all the other stuff combined. But it's unfair. Vote for him. At the end of the day, it's kind of like Barry Bonds. They voted for Barry to get all the MVPs, but they're not voting for him to get the Hall of Fame, which to me makes no sense. If you thought he was cheating back then, which they knew he was probably cheating, why would you then keep him out of the Hall of Fame? But that's for a different story. Aaron is right here. Sure, he's a jerk, but you don't know him personally. And listen, the seasons he's having, 30-something touchdowns? Trey, it's pretty insane what he's doing right now. But we'll see what happens in the playoffs still, because Aaron's 1-4 in NFC Championship games. So we're going to see what happens, and they're going to have home field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be cold in Green Bay, and if it's against the Rams, you bet your bottom dollar I will be in Wisconsin for that
Really?
game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Breaking news here. He's going to go
Because
stay the cold.
It's just a ride over. I didn't make the season one because I was pissed off and I had a feeling we were going to lose anyway. But this time around, I'll be going to that game bundled up in the cold, because Green Bay is only like a few hours away from me. So,
well, hats off to you, because we watched those Green Bay Packer games in those freezing temperature weathers. And I'm like, kudos to you, because I'm not paying money to go sit in the freezing cold weather when I can sit under my heater and watch.
We'll see how much the tickets are. I mean, if the tickets are insane, I can still go. But now the Georgia game, I've been thinking about going because it's in Indianapolis, but I don't know. I might just want to watch this in the home comfort of my own home, but
it's going to be one of those games. I agree with you. We'll talk about that championship game here in a little bit. But right now, I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Yes, I've always said I don't like Aaron Rodgers either. I think he's a bona fide jerkish guy. I think it's all about him. He never makes mistakes. It's always someone else's fault. He's the smartest guy in the room. You're dumb. He's smart, whatever the case may be. I just do not like Aaron Rodgers for personal reasons. But he is a great quarterback, and he is probably having the best season. I think it was Tom Brady up until this broken toe incident where he showed his toe to everybody in the media. And then since that incident, he's had 24 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in that time span alone. And Tom Brady's going in and out of receivers. He's making interceptions. Jonathan Taylor, I can make a strong case for. I think he's second in MVP voting, just because Carson Wentz is just bona fide trash right now. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Without Jonathan Taylor, this team would be on the outside looking in and not holding that number 6 seed in the AFC. So for that, but with Green Bay getting number 1 seed, and I'll get into their schedule a little bit too. Green Bay has not played anybody hardly at all. Let's say they played the Rams. They beat no, they play the Rams? No, they didn't. They beat the Cardinals. And then look at their division. Everyone talks about the NFC East and how crappy their division is. Really? Let's look at the NFC North. The Bears twice. They suck. They don't even have a good quarterback right now. Justin Fields is a rookie quarterback. That defense is god-awful trash. Who are you going to Minnesota Vikings, who are probably going to fire their head coach this year, and you can never trust them in any and then you have the Detroit Lions, who are actually playing pretty good ball right now, but at the same time, they're still 2-14 or whatever the case may be, or 2-13. So they play in an awful division, so that's easy wins for them right there and then. But to throw 24 touchdowns to 0 interceptions in this time span and getting the number 1 overall seed, I think that trumps.
But listen, Aaron also is very careful. He throws the ball away more than any other quarterback. He doesn't take a lot of high risk. Devontae Adams is great, but they got some injuries. I think their defense is vulnerable as well. I mean, they give up a good amount of points to the Bears. The Ravens and Brett Hundley almost got them a few weeks ago. So their defense is not as good, I think.
The Browns, if they would have ran the ball, they would have got them.
So the Packers, to me, depends who they play in that playoff game. But the way it's shaping up, it looks like the Packers will get the winner of the
seeding still got to be determined right now.
So wait, the 1 seed.
They once he gets the lowest seed remaining in the second round.
Gotcha. So the Rams are, if the Rams win, depending on who they play.
Well, the Rams they won't.
So Rams will either play Dallas in the second round if Dallas gets in, or it could be it could be a ton of different.
Well,
Well-
as the seeding stands right now, let's just do the top four. Let's just say these four teams advanced. Packers have the 1 seed, Rams have 2 seed, Buccaneers 3, Cowboys 4. If those 3 teams win, you're going to see a Tampa Bay Rams divisional, and then you're going to have Cowboys.
Yeah,
Packers
true.
divisional round.
Which means, are you going to Green Bay, Trey?
Hell no, I ain't going to no Green Bay. Like I told my wife, we're watching Green Bay in the snow. I'm not paying tickets for $200, $500, $300, $7,000 to go sit in the freezing cold weather. Like they're asking these fans, how much layers you wearing? 5 pairs of layers. Why? Just sit at home and drink a beer and drink hot cocoa and watch.
Well, I do think the NFC Championship game is different though, because you're 1 win away from the Super Bowl, and if you could, but no, I completely understand it.
Well, if the situation, like if I was living in cold weather climate all the time, then yes, I probably would get used to it and could do it. But I live here in South Texas, where it was just damn near 80 degrees the other day, and now it's 45. So we're not used to it down here as well. But Aaron Rodgers is MVP. I hate saying that. I hate coming out because I do not like this guy. I hate this guy. But he's a great quarterback. I just don't want him on my team. I never liked this guy. I think he's cocky and arrogant, and I think I just think he thinks he's better than everybody else, and I just don't like Aaron Rodgers to say it's always someone else's fault but his. But saying that, Aaron Rodgers is your MVP, and that guy, what that reporter probably should have said was, I'm not voting for Aaron Rodgers for my personal reasons. That's it. That's it. But call him a jerk. I mean, whatever the case may be. But I want to move on real quick before we get into NFL weekly games. Gio, Monday night. I know you don't care about these Sunday games. I know you're anxious and excited for your Georgia.
Well, I mean, I would like to beat the 49ers. We haven't beaten them in 3 years. Because we couldn't meet them again, at home at least. But, Trey, it's a big game on Monday. It's a national championship game. Georgia, last time we won was, 1980 with Herschel Walker.
Yep.
And Georgia's been a previous national championship game against Alabama. Didn't go very well. So it's been tough because you've had the Rams losing a Super Bowl, Georgia's loss. So the last team that my team has won championship is the Spurs, 2014. That's a long time since a team has won, at least for any of my teams. But it's going to be a battle of wills. And it's not about talent, Trey. It's not about talent. It's about here. It's
exactly right.
Psychological. There's a reason why Nick Saban is 27-1 against assistants. Jimbo Fisher got him just barely
with a backup quarterback.
Kudos to Jimbo, but to me it's a battle of the minds here. And for Georgia, play defense, run the football, and get after the quarterback. We saw what they did in Michigan, Trey. They just demolished Michigan. You saw the speed in which Georgia plays. I mean, there was a play where the guard pulled and they hit, I forgot what was his name, and that guy just stuck his elbow, and the guard just went back. Why? Because Georgia is so physical. That's why it's just so frustrating to see what happened with Georgia and how Alabama just demolished them. So just imagine how good Alabama is at their best. But I think at Georgia at their best and Alabama at their best, I think the key is Meacham is out, the wide receiver, who was another guy who torched us. So they got to worry about Williams. They got to worry about some other guys. But honestly, Trey, give me a second. I have this.
All right, while he was talking right there, I just think that getting to this game, the first matchup of the season, everyone was talking about Georgia and their defense and how Georgia was a better team and how they're going to run shot all over Alabama, which I think it got into Georgia's head. I think it got in Kirby's mind. I don't think they showed up for the SEC championship game. And Alabama was hearing how bad they were and everything. They didn't deserve to be there. In all case, Miserio, that probably is the case, but all the other teams have failed to reach win games or just kept losing games. So Alabama was still in the playoff picture even after I lost to Texas A&M. So hearing all that, I think talent aside, Georgia was right, Coach Gio was right on this aspect right here. Put talent aside, Georgia has the best talent in the SEC right now. That defense is by far the best. It's all up here. Like Gio said, he took the words right out of my mouth. Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy winner, yes, but he's missing his top wide receiver. If you've shown that if you get to him early, Cincinnati did a great job, even though the game wasn't close because the Cincinnati offense couldn't do anything. Cincinnati got to Bryce Young and it affected his throwing. You don't think that Georgia defensive line is going to get to Bryce Young and make him uncomfortable in this game, especially after the SEC game? I mean, I just think, yes, it's hard to bet against Nick Saban, but at the same time, Kirby Smart just got to play smart, and he's got to play JT Barrett at quarterback, and he's got to put something different in Nick Saban's head because of that reason right there. Because you got to make him think or prepare for more other things than what you saw in the SEC championship game. But saying all that, with the Georgia defense and the Georgia offense, I just think that Georgia is going to come out and show, and I think Georgia is going to come and win this game. I think Georgia is the better overall team. I think they've been the best team all season long. I think Georgia has the overall overwhelming talent of any SEC championship team I've seen, even that's including some Alabama teams. I just believe that Georgia is going to win this game. I think it's going to be close. But if they get to Bryce Young early and mess up his rhythm with those wide receivers, and the secondary can cover those two, they only got to cover those two wide receivers, they could easily, I'm not going to say easily, but they could win this game by 2 possessions, I'm saying. But it's all up here, like Gio said. Could Kirby Smart just get over the hump? If he doesn't get over the hump this year, does Georgia start looking somewhere else for a new head coach? I think that's going to be the ramblings going on in Athens, Georgia, if Kirby Smart does not get the job done as of right now. I just think that Georgia is a better team. And Alabama's a good team, but they're down this year. This is the time to hit them this year. And with that front of four for the Georgia Bulldogs, I think the Georgia Bulldogs are going to have a field day. I think that they're going to get to Bryce Young early and often and mess with that rhythm. And Georgia is going to go and win this game. And I don't know if Gio heard all my explanations, but I'm picking the Georgia Bulldogs to win this game.
Draw
31-21.
Trey, I hope, as I told you in the beginning of the week, I don't think I can take another loss straight Alabama. I just don't think that I can sit there all off season and see Alabama win another national championship. Georgia is 0-7 or 0-8 or whatever it is since 2007 against Bama. Last time we won, which mind you, was I think Nick Saban's first year at Alabama, and they were growing something over there.
2007.
They've already beaten us in SEC championship games, regular games, and a national championship. This is the second time in a national championship Georgia's playing Alabama. For all you haters who say, well, I don't want to see this again. What do you want to see? Alabama versus Michigan, Trey?
You know what? Before the Georgia game, before Georgia-Michigan, I was going to say I want Michigan. I want Michigan and Alabama because I thought that defense was going to hold them in the run game for Michigan could beat Alabama. But Georgia just threw that out the wayside. I'm like, okay, yes, Georgia, Alabama too. This is their best national championship game. So you can, especially for this. Now, I will say this. If Ohio State didn't get in the way of themselves in Michigan, that Ohio State offense is not going to be stopped.
I think Ohio State and even Utah looked pretty good in that game. I thought those teams would be more equipped to maybe give Georgia and Alabama more because Michigan's just more of a running team and, they have to wear you out. But if Michigan's not as physical, then good luck. And we saw how physical Michigan was and wasn't very much. So,
well, maybe what's not Justin Fields? The quarterback for Ohio State, what's his name? Stroud, whatever his name is. Maybe he was right. If half of Ohio State had the flu apparently, and they didn't show up for Michigan. But I guarantee you they play again. I think Ohio State wins that game because in the Rose Bowl game, Ohio State didn't have their top 2 wide receivers in that game. The third receiver broke an all-time record, almost had 300 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. And B.J. Stroud is going to be the face of the NCAA. Him and Bryce Young are going to be competing for Heisman trophies back and forth for the next 2 years. But I don't know. Caleb Williams might have something to say with that if he goes to Georgia next year. I'm just saying. I don't know. But
well, right now they're saying he's the favorite. It's interesting because, if Georgia gets Caleb, Georgia has a freshman coming in. I've talked about Connor Stockton. He's tremendous. He's a gunslinger. He's going to be a true freshman next year. But also Archie Manning or his son or whatever the case may be, he's linked to Georgia right now. So Georgia may have a competitive quarterback field. And to me, Georgia, the quarterback, as good as Stetson Bennett is, he needs a lot of things to be good. Georgia needs to have that quarterback. We did have Justin Fields, but Kirby picked Jake Fromm. And granted, Jake Fromm did lead them to the championship game, almost beat Alabama. So that was a tough situation.
Is it though? I mean, I know it's hard going. You can't play Monday morning quarterback and say, oh, crap, we had Justin Fields. But imagine if Justin Fields was on that Georgia team, y'all would have won that national championship. Because what's one thing Nick Saban cannot do is a running quarterback. You can't defend a running quarterback. And I think that's what – well, also that fourth and – was that 21-yard – I don't know what coverage Georgia was playing, but that was not it.
Yeah, no, that was the last thing that play was in my head. And Mike, that was a tough play because remember this. They sacked Tua, kicked him out of field goal range. You stop him there.
Game's over.
And I'm not sure. I still probably don't even know what coverage they were playing. It seemed like they just got over the top in a hurry, and Georgia seemed confused. But I mean, kudos to Alabama, but I'm hoping that this is Georgia's. I mean, 2 national championship games. You haven't won an SEC in a few years just because you got throttled by LSU when they had Joe Burrow, rightly so, and then also now with Alabama's been winning it. So I'm hoping for the state of Georgia that I'm just hoping, man, because if you lose again, I don't know if they could show their face in Athens.
Well, let me ask you this since you're going there. Georgia loses to Alabama. That's Kirby Smart's what, 3rd or 4th loss to Nick Saban. Do you start looking for a new head coach?
No. No, you don't go that route simply because Kirby's been recruiting well. They've been winning games. And you fired Mark Richt because Mark couldn't get over the hump, and Mark was a great, coach, a good recruiter. I don't know if he's better than Kirby, man. Kirby's been getting some defensive studs lately, like the past several years. Mark Richt was great, especially on offense. But I mean, listen, Nick Chubb was there, Sony Michel.
Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, Lift.
The linebacker, this with the Bears, who's that thud in the middle there? Something Jones, right? But and then Georgia's offensive line are all over the league. So you don't let Kirby go. You keep him just because you don't fire him. They haven't fired too many. Well, they let Mark Richt go. But I mean, I'm saying like they normally don't fire coaches pretty early. But if he wins it, he's going to get a raise.
Oh yeah, he's there forever.
He's going to get
a statue.
Sometime. I think Mark Richt should get a statue, but Kirby's definitely going to get a statue there.
Well, it's just funny, right? Like the SEC championship game. I remember going to the sports bar here in town, and I was like, everyone there they came and watched that game because everyone knew Alabama was going to get beat. We're going to have no Alabama this year. And then just watching that game and just look, this is not Georgia ball. This is not and you start wondering, is Kirby Smart afraid of Nick Saban or something? Like afraid to beat him because he's like younger and doesn't want to give him a heart attack, wherever the case may be over there. Because we all know Nick Saban gets animated on the sidelines when something doesn't go his way. There's some I just can't put my head around it. Like why can't Kirby Smart? He's a good coach. He's a great coach, but does Nick Saban have some over him that he doesn't want coming out?
I mean, let's give Nick Saban credit. I mean, he's a really good coach. I mean, Nick Saban's won a ton of championships, right? The times he's lost is Herculean efforts by Deshaun Watson, right? I mean,
Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence,
as well as when Ohio State beat them in the semifinals, right? What Ezekiel Elliott goes off, right? So Nick Saban's a good coach, and he's beaten all his assistants, right? He's beaten Jimbo tons of times. He's beaten Lane Kiffin. I mean, he's beaten most of all his assistants.
Lane Kiffin, it's not really.
So, so it's. I think Kirby. I mean, listen, he hasn't had a quarterback though. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't had that not transcendent, but that Heisman quarterback. He had Justin Fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
But look at his quarterback right now, Trey. He's a walk-on.
Yep.
And the backup is a transfer from USC, JT Daniels. And Jake Fromm was okay, right? He was a serviceable quarterback. But Georgia's never had – the last time Georgia had a bona fide quarterback, probably Matthew Stafford, DJ Shockley, who was a running quarterback, David Green. I mean, some of these other quarterbacks, Georgia hasn't had really, really good quarterbacks. Aaron Murray was good for the system, but he just wasn't that guy. But Georgia's going to have that guy, whether it's Caleb Williams. And if Manning comes to Georgia, I mean, that's going to be a big deal. And then the true freshman coming in this year, who I think is going to be really good, potentially, who's a gunslinger, and Connor Stockton. So Georgia's going to have that quarterback. But if they can win it this year with a walk-on, because I think Georgia will be back in the national championship game sometime within the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not good, this is the year to beat Alabama if you're Georgia. Because they're not as good, and Alabama is a young, talented team right now. They're like reloading. Their quarterback's a true freshman. And he won the Heisman Trophy. And then he's getting his receivers back. He's getting running backs keep coming in and in and in and in.
But what the quarterback is he a sophomore?
He's a freshman.
Oh, okay.
True freshman. So this is a year to get in. Their offensive line's young too, I think. And that defense is only going to get better too next year.
I don't even know how Georgia. I don't know how Georgia lost, especially in the trenches. They're a better in the line of scrimmage. Georgia's more physical, but Alabama they Alabama'd us. I just can't explain it.
To me, it looked like Alabama or Georgia thought they had the game from all their previous dominance, and they just thought they could walk in there and beat this Alabama team. No, you have to go in thinking you're the underdog against Alabama, because majority of the time you are. But this year was different because Alabama was struggling a little bit. They were in close games against Florida, they lost to Texas A&M. Arkansas almost gave them a run for their money. So I think they're ahead. Georgia was blowing everybody out, but at the same time, Georgia really didn't play anybody either. I think Alabama.
Well, we did play at the time teams were ranked, right? Arkansas was ranked number 10.
Yeah,
now they are not ranked anymore.
They're 24, 22.
Florida,
Florida sucked, dude. Come on.
That was a sinking ship, and they're losing recruits. People are transferring from there. Georgia's probably going to rule the East again, I'm assuming, next season. Ole Miss was, I know Ole Miss quarterback got hurt, but wait, no, we didn't play Ole Miss this year.
Nope.
Tennessee was Arkansas. Auburn was ranked 15th at the time. The teams Kentucky was ranked what? 15th as well. Like, they were ranked. Now at the end of the year, SEC teams don't do great also in bowl games. Historically, it's not really a bowls season type of team, at least for the other bowls, but I guess we'll find out and see.
And I'm not I'm fixing to be a big SEC guy because of Texas. Hook 'em horns.
Welcome, Trey. You're going to need it, man. It'll be a lot.
Well, they recruited well this year. They recruited great offensive linemen, great defensive linemen. They're getting good quarterback receivers coming in. I think you got to give them 2 more years. I'm just telling you. I think. I
hope you guys. I don't think you'll turn into Vandy, because Vandy is just pretty bad. But you got to recruit with the big boys, man, and it's tough because Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M, and now it's just not about recruiting; it's also about money, right?
Exactly right.
Texas got money as well. Obviously, Texas A&M got deep pockets as well, but these players are going to want money, and also where can they get to be NFL ready, right? So
exactly.
I think Texas will be fine in the next few years. They may go through some tough times, but depending on where they're at, If they're in the SEC East, I think they might put Oklahoma in the SEC East and put Texas in the SEC West.
I can see him put them both in the SEC West and moving some teams out of the SEC West to the SEC East.
You can. I mean, some of the rivalries are not. I mean, some of them are pretty big, but I mean,
you could put Ole Miss and Mississippi State in the SEC West or East.
You can, or you could put A&M in the East, right? So you can. Well, Trey, I mean, you're probably going to renew the rivalry, right, with Texas A&M. I'm assuming that's going to be
You have to.
That's going to be a pretty yearly, or maybe every other year, but it's going to be a.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big game, Trey.
A lot of good things to look forward to, man. I can't wait. We have 2 rivalry games, Oklahoma and A&M. I mean, you got to have both of those. So, and then Alabama's actually coming to UT this year in the second game of the season. Believe it or not, Nick Saban actually traveling to UT. Can you believe that? Traveling somewhere other than Atlanta or Jerry World. He's actually going to another big college town. I mean, Texas is not
good
great.
Good luck, Trey, because
I'm picking Alabama to win that game. But I'm just saying. I'm just shocked that Nick Saban's actually going somewhere, because usually when he does these big time games, it's supposed to be a neutral field. But we'll move on, because I know a lot of these people want to hear these NFL games this week, and we'll go through them. We kicked off Saturday night. We have a double slate. We have the Chiefs and the Broncos at 3:35 Central Time, and then we have the Dallas Cowboys facing the Philadelphia Eagles in the late night game. Well, not late night game, but 7:30 game on Saturday night, which I'm not going to watch probably either one of these games, to be honest with you, because there's no playoff implications hardly in any one of these games. But let's go through it. Are Chiefs going to beat the Broncos pretty handily on Saturday afternoon?
Do the Chiefs have to win, or
for them to get the 1 seed, the Chiefs are going to have to win. Titans are going to have to lose.
Give me the Chiefs. Denver's done. Also, they need to fire Vic Fangio, in my opinion. But give me the Chiefs. I think they're a better football team. They're going to play better. They lost last week, and Kansas and Denver's already on vacation over there in Mile High. So, give me the Chiefs. But it's a rivalry game, so
it is a rivalry game. The Chiefs are playing a lot better. The defense has gotten a lot better. Patrick Mahomes seems like he's stopped throwing interceptions. Tyreek Hill caught record-setting 111 catches this year to beat the team record in that. Kelsey's getting back on track. They're running the ball a little bit better. I think the Chiefs win this game, but I don't think they're going to get the number 1 seed. I think the Titans are going to hold on to that one. And then the late night game, Dallas going through some COVID issues right now. So is his Philadelphia Eagles. They're going through a big COVID issue. I think they have 14 players on the COVID list right now. Cowboys put Michael Parsons on it. Today they put Tyron Smith on it, and then Brown, the cornerback, as well on it. And then Diggs is out with an illness, and so is another player as well. And Jerry Jones says they're still going to play everybody, which I don't understand, because seeding really doesn't matter. You're going to have Tampa Bay lose. You're going to have the Rams losing. You're going to have the Cardinals lose to even try to get the number 2 seed. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles win this game just because it's going to be filling. It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowy. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles in this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird game, but give me the Eagles. They've been playing well. Dallas doesn't have much to play for. I will say you want to be playing your best football, though, Trey, at the end of the year. And if Dallas loses, I know it's just a meaningless game, but sometimes that thing can carry over into a playoff game. Give me the Eagles. I don't think the Cowboys are not going to get up for this game, but I don't like the momentum going into a postseason game for the Cowboys. But they did beat the Washington Red Tails, apparently. But
is it Red Tails or Emeralds?
But the Cowboys, I don't know, man. They might go into the playoffs a little shaky, but nonetheless, give me the Eagles. I think they want it more, and I guess we'll see.
But isn't that funny how the NFL works, though? Like, you're running high. Like 2 weeks ago, Dallas Cowboys looked like one of the best Super Bowl teams. I know they play the Washington football team, but beating the way their offense, like Washington still had something to play for in that game. Their playoff streak was still on the line, and the way that they dominated that game. And then they go against Arizona and do that, and they say they weren't ready to play. that crowd was rocking and rolling, and yet they throw. That's why Cowboy fans are so frustrated with this Dallas Cowboy team for the last 25 years. It's because of that right there. You finally think you have it, but then they slip. Doesn't matter who the head coach is, the quarterback is. It's the same Dallas Cowboys. And I said this, until they prove me wrong, until they finally make it to the NFC Championship, I do not trust the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't do it. And I'm a big Cowboy fan. I'm not a Cowboy hater, but we've seen this same scenario 25 years in a row. They cannot keep a momentum going to say they can't beat the good teams until they prove me otherwise. I'm going with the Eagles anyway. Packers, Lions, nothing really much to play for. Lions have nothing. I mean, guess draft seeding wise, they have something to play for. Packers already clinched the number 1 seed. They said they're playing their starters because they're going to have that bye week. They don't want to go have 2 weeks in a row. But you know what? Give me the Lions in this one. I think the Lions are going to pull the upset in this one. They're playing great football. They're at home. Give me the Lions in a shocker by 3 points. I don't care either. I just wanted to
Give me the
just wanted to say the Lions.
Give me the Lions. I mean, dude, you know what? I watched some of these Lions games this year.
They're not bad.
I like how they compete. Like, I know I made fun of Dan Campbell and his kneecaps and all that stuff, but dude, they're competitive and they play hard. Like, these guys don't give up. And that receiver that they have, something St. Brown, he's going to be a stud. They go get another receiver in the draft next year. This offense could be coming together, and the offensive line is not bad whatsoever. They're improving, and they have some really good players. The Lions are going to be fine, I think, in the next years because they have a plan in place.
Well, you also have Swift, who you can say healthy as a running back, a playmaker in the backfield. That team's going to be. I mean, they've been in a lot of games this year. They could easily have 5 or 6 wins easily as well. So, all right, a big game. Both teams are still in the playoff hunt in the AFC, barely. I don't know how. Big Ben could be potentially his last game in the NFL this Sunday against the rivalry, the Ravens. The Steelers are going to have the Colts lose to the Jaguars, and then hope that the Chargers and Raiders do not end in a tie on Sunday night, and they also have to win to get in the playoffs. No Lamar Jackson. Steelers can't really score either. I like Brett Hundley, what he's doing, bringing in the quarterback situation. No running, but without hardly any running backs, where the case may be. Ravens being at home, I think all the emotion from Big Ben's last home game last week, I think the Ravens top the Steelers this week.
I do too, and Brett Hundley's not bad. He can run around. He can sling it. Give me the Ravens. The Rams they had to really fight to get that win in Baltimore last week. It was cold. It was loud. The fans there. Give me the Ravens. Can the Ravens get in, or are they?
Ravens need a lot to happen. A lot. And I can't go through all the playoffs. That's have a lot.
No, that's fine. But I think it sucks because of injuries of Lamar Jackson. Give me the Ravens, though. Ben Roethlisberger, he played horrible last week. Like, it wasn't very good. Like, his percentages, it's like he can't throw past 10 yards.
Nope.
And they still can't run the ball, which is weird to me because they retooled the offensive line. It's just not. I mean, look at James Conner looking like an MVP with the Cardinals when he's running the ball. But with Pittsburgh, it was like 1 yard and a cloud of dust, So, but give me the Ravens. I think they're going to bounce back. It's going to be a physical game as it normally is. But give me the Ravens.
Okay, and Jacksonville. We have the Colts going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Colts need to win. They win, they are in the playoffs. If they lose, they better hope that the Steelers lose as well. Everyone thinks this is an easy game for the Colts because the Jaguars are so god-awful, but not so fast, my friend. The Jacksonville Jaguars have beat the Indianapolis Colts every time they played in Jacksonville since 2014. The Colts have not beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville since 2014. I don't trust Carson Wentz, but I also don't trust Trevor Lawrence in that offense either. I trust Jonathan Taylor a little bit more than Jacksonville Jaguars running game. I like the Colts in this one by 7 points.
I don't trust Urban Meyer either.
He's not there.
Give me the Colts. I don't see a scenario which Jacksonville wins, but damn it, even in their bad years, they've been beating the Colts.
Exactly.
In Jacksonville. And I'm sure Jacksonville Jaguars would like nothing more than to spoil the fun. Give me the Colts, but this is going to be a game to watch because Jacksonville's had some, they played some teams tough this year.
That defense will probably keep them in. I think it's going to be close, but I think Colts pull away late in that game. All right, games that no one really cares about. The Washington football team, which they're going to announce their name and logo on February 3rd. So we don't know what it's going to be. There's speculation it's going to be the Admirals. I have no idea. I think they should just leave it as a Washington football team, but whatever the case may be. They're playing the New York football Giants. Who really cares? I'm picking the Giants just because they're at home.
Dude.
I don't
Giants.
care.
I saw some of that game against the Bears last week, and I know Danny Dimes is not there, but Danny Dimes look way better than any one of the guys they got there. That team is so bad. Also, I saw a stat. They haven't had a winning record at any point in the last 5 years.
Yeah, and I think they have one touchdown in the last 36 possessions or something like that.
Joe Judge, first of all, why did you hire him to begin with?
He's a special teams coach, man. He's not even a head coach.
Nothing a special teams coach. John Harbaugh was, but this is just because you get someone from the Patriots don't mean crap.
Exactly.
And we've seen this already. Story. Give me a Washington football team.
There you go.
I don't have any money in this thing. I might bet some. This year wasn't great on my bets, man. Very annoying year.
That's how it goes, man. Ups and downs. That's why I give it up to these professional gamblers, man. Because how they do it, I have no idea.
So someone turned $200 to $200,000. He
God.
bet that a college basketball game, that no one would get to 30 points, in the first half. The first team had 29 points with 7 minutes left, and they missed all their shots. They missed all their shots, and then the other team got to 27. So he won. I'm like, yo, that's insane, man. But yeah, give me the Washington football team. I mean, I don't really care about that team.
No. And another game no one's going to really care about unless you live in both these cities, as Gio lives in one of these cities. The Bears versus the Vikings. Minnesota has won 2 of the last 3 games. Kirk Cousins just got back from the COVID list. No one's going to make playoffs in this situation. Justin Fields probably out. Andy Dalton's last hurrah in the Chicago Bears uniform. Matt Nagy's probably the last game as a head coach for the Chicago Bears. Mike Zimmer might be the last head coach of the last game of Minnesota Vikings. I like the Vikings in this one. Their weapons, Justin Jefferson, all that at home. Give me the Vikings by 14 points.
Give me Washington. It's Zimmer's last game. I'm pretty sure Nagy's gone. These teams might look a little different next year. Not a whole lot, but there's going to be some changes. And shout out to Robert Quinn. Over 20 sacks this year. And weirdly enough, he's been pretty good in Chicago. Mm-hmm. His career, so he started off with the Rams, right? He got 20 sacks one year. He kind of got hurt. He wasn't consistent. He went to Dallas for a little bit, right? It was kind of up and down. And then he has this rebirth in Chicago. And the man's going to have 100 sacks by the end of his career. Which begs the question, Robert Quinn might be a Hall of Famer. Call me crazy, but with over 100 sacks, potentially. So if we look at his sack total right now, real quick, he has 100 sacks, Trey. 100. It's so weird to me because in Dallas, he just disappeared. Yeah, he just disappeared in Dallas. Got to the Bears, and then the dude's had a rebirth, and I mean, he's only 31 years old. I feel like he's been in the league way longer than that. Mm-hmm. I think he came into the league really young with the Rams, but shout out to him. 18 sacks this year, over 100 sacks. A guy who I think could be in Canton when it's all said and done. But yeah, he's been in the league since 2011, and he's just been consistent. But yeah,
I think having Khalil Mack in there probably helps a little bit in those couple of years too.
I honestly think Khalil Mack is done in Chicago.
I do too.
I'm getting the vibes that he's not the player he once was, and he could be set sailing somewhere else. Maybe with the Rams. I wouldn't mind.
You have no more money.
Hey, never tell Les Snead that, okay?
Exactly. It has nothing to do with him. It has nothing to do with salary cap.
No, I know. Yeah, we don't have much.
You are in a win mode now, but we'll get that game a little bit later. Titans going to the Texans. The Texans actually upset the Titans earlier this year. One of their big upsets of the win against the Tennessee Titans. King Henry is cleared. He is back already and looked good in practice from the video clips I saw, but it's a far long shot that he plays in this game. Titans need a win to clinch the number 1 overall seed over the Texans. The Texans upset the world again and beat the Titans. Gio?
I really don't care. Give me the Titans. I low-key think Titans are going to lose in the second round. Listen, as great as Derrick Henry is, Tannehill's trash, man, this season without him. He's really bad.
Well, he hasn't had the receivers either because they've been out and back and forth all season long, but they still have the number 1 seed at 11-5.
I think Titans lose in the second round, whoever they play. But anyway, because if it's they did beat the Patriots a few weeks ago. But give me the Titans, man. The Titans here.
I like the Titans in this one. I think the Titans want that number 1 seed. I think they want that extra rest. I think they're going to come out with a blaze thing. I think they're going to control the game early. But man, the Texans team they've shown that they don't give up and they play hard for their head coach. I think it's going to be closer to what the experts think, but I just think that the Titans are too much, and I think the Titans are going to get this win and clinch the number 1 overall seed. The Joe Burrows, the Bengals, and the Browns. It was going to be a good game until the Browns and Baker Mayfield apparently sucked the rest of the year. And basically, Baker Mayfield's no longer – he opted out for the rest of the season. He's going to get shoulder surgery on his known throwing shoulder. He is done with the Browns. I think he's going to be done with the Browns for the rest of his career. I think he's going to find somewhere else to throw, maybe a backup somewhere, but he's not a good quarterback. Bengals, Joe Burrow already said he's not playing this game. Key other people are on the COVID list already. Joe Mixon, I think, is on one of them as well. I think they're going to rest a lot of their starters as well. I think the Browns upset and get the win in this one in Cincinnati. In Cleveland, I get a low score, 21-17.
Give me the Bengals. I don't know how they're going to win without Burrow, but also Baker Mayfield every week is telling us that he's hurt. Dude, I don't care.
I'm giving it my all, man. I'm tougher than you.
If you're out there, okay. You're good enough to play. You're beat up, all this stuff. Well, then go get surgery.
And that's what he's doing. He's not playing.
Why didn't he get surgery a long time ago? That's what I don't understand.
I think the Browns would have been a lot better with Case Keenum throwing the ball instead of making Baker Mayfield. Case Keenum's a lot better quarterback than Baker Mayfield, I do believe. I don't think
Mayfield needs a new scenery. He needs a fresh start. And, yeah.
All right, Gio, we're going to your game next. The 49ers trying to clinch that. I know you're scared because the 49ers.
I hate that team.
Won 5 straight games against your Los Angeles Rams. This one is in SoFi, though, where it's probably not going to be the home field or Super Bowl home field anymore after this new COVID variant, because we all know what California is. But the 49ers running the ball, Deebo Sanders being the beast. Who's going to be a quarterback, Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo? I think you rather wish that Trey Lance is, because Jimmy Garoppolo, all he does is beat y'all for a reason. But I think the Rams play for a lot more. They want the number 2 seed. I think the Rams get the win and beat the 49ers by 3 points.
I'm getting nightmares what happened Monday Night Football a few weeks ago, where 49ers just shellacked us. I think the Rams finally break through. I've been saying this for like several years. I think this is the time they get through. I think Stafford, Cam Akers, this defense wants us to finish the season off strong. But give me the Rams. But the 49ers, as I've been saying, Trey, that's a tough team, man. That's a grit team. That's a run-heavy team. We saw them almost beat the Packers.
Yep.
We saw them beat the Rams. We've seen them beat some teams just by running them to death. We saw them a few years ago in the NFC Championship game, run Green Bay off the field. So the Rams might have to play this team 2 weeks in a row. So give me the Rams, but I don't love this matchup just because they just seem to always beat us.
I'm not going to lie. I'm going for the 49ers in this game because I don't want to see the Cardinals being a Cowboy fan because Kyle Murray owns the Dallas Cowboys at Jerry World. I'd rather face y'all for some whatever reason. I don't know why because Matthew Stafford, whatever the case may be. I just don't want to face Kyle Murray again, the Cardinals in the second round. But I think I think the Rams still get the victory in this one. All right, moving on. Panthers, Buccaneers. Really nothing to play for in this game. Buccaneers are playing for seeding. Panthers are out of playoff contention. Tampa Bay has 405 total yards this season. That is the most in the NFL. But there's no Antonio Brown this week. There's no Godwin. There's no the running back. I can't remember his name right now. Fournette. He's out. But the Panthers suck, and I don't trust Matt Rule. Matt Rule might have his last game here as in Carolina's rumors circling that he might be gone, but I think they're going to give him one more year. Give me the Buccaneers being at home. I think Tampa Bay gets the win by 10 points.
Matt Rule was another guy. Why did he get hired? I don't – I said Matt Rule and Joe Judge, really? But anyway, give me Tampa Bay. I don't care if Tampa's playing with Bruce Arians as their quarterback. Give me Tampa. Carolina is just not – their defense is actually is pretty solid. But Christian McCaffrey's been nicked up the past few years. I'm not saying he might leave, but he could be traded maybe for some assets. This team is just falling apart. In the beginning of the year, Sam Darnold was playing lights out. Now, not so much.
Moving right along in that same division that you were talking with your Rams, Seahawks and Cardinals. Cardinals have won 3 of the last 4 games versus Seattle. Seattle has nothing to play for right now. They're basically messing with themselves. Cardinals finally get it back on the winning track, beating the Dallas Cowboys by 3 points after some people might call a horrific officiating game on both sides. I'm not saying that they had the outcome, but Greg Dusleg could not kick a field goal to save his life, but that's neither here or there. Cardinals finally get back on the winning track. Kyle Murray finally looked like himself. Give me the Cardinals in this one by 7 points.
Give me Seahawks.
You just want any opportunity to win that division.
I just want the Seahawks to win. The Seahawks looked pretty good they played with the Lions. They beat the Lions last week. Their offense looked pretty good. They're up and down the field, and they give Arizona fits. Give me Seattle. One last hurrah for Russell. I know his ass is gone from Seattle.
Yes, it's where we're zero.
It could be Pete Carroll's last game, though. He could come back next year. I don't know, but give me Seattle.
That Seattle team's going to look a lot different than it did this last couple of years. There's going to be no Russell Wilson. Bobby Wagner's probably going to be gone. They're probably going to get some draft capital. But, yeah, I think the Cardinals win. I know you're rooting for the Seahawks. But all right, Patriots, they're in the playoffs after getting they still have a shot at the number 1 overall seed, believe it or not. Like, a lot of things got to go their way. But they're still in the hunt. They face the Dolphins, who finally lost a game after 7-8 straight weeks. They are facing the Dolphins. I'm actually giving the Dolphins in this one. I think Dolphins will get the upset against New England Patriots with that defense and give Bill Belichick something to look forward to for the playoffs.
You know what's crazy about Bill? I think he's like the only coach that will like run the scoreboard up. Like honestly, that game against the Jets, like a few months ago where they blew them out. And then I watched some of the Jacksonville game and it's like 30 something to 0 in the first half. And like, they're still trying to score, like just beat you down. Give me the Dolphins. They always get Patriots fits in Miami. So
beat them once already this year in New England.
It's a rivalry game, but I don't know how much the Patriots are really. I mean, they're trying to get the 1 seed as well, but give me the Dolphins in an upset.
The Saints still in the playoffs. They have a 48% chance of making the playoffs if they.
I hope they win.
If they take care of Rudy Campos's Atlanta Falcons, who me and VR are never going to bet on ever again and to save our lives, we're done with them. Matt Ryan might be play his last game as Atlanta Falcon. Saints playing for playoff. That defense is scary. Can the Saints score enough points? I don't know because there's no good quarterback. But that Saints defense, I think Saints playing with a lot more. I think the Saints get the win in Atlanta by 3 points.
Give me the Saints and Ian Book. Or whoever the hell the quarterback is.
Ian Book, if he wins, he'll be the first Notre Dame quarterback to win in like the last 38 games, like some remarkable like that. No quarterback has won a game in the NFL.
And, you know, Notre Dame put up a lot of points in that bowl game, and someone was saying that was Kelly holding them back. And I honestly think that Kelly may have.
Well, they scored a lot of points in the first half, and then the second half they just couldn't score.
I think we're going to see a different Notre Dame team the next few years.
I like Freeman. I love Freeman as a head coach. I think
Kelly's style is very conservative and just kind of ho-hum. But he also has that fake country accent or whatever that was in his press conference.
I can't do it, but it was horrible. He doubled down on it in the bowl game on Tuesday night. Don't make fun of my Boston accent. Whatever it is.
Also, I didn't know that Stoops coached the Oklahoma game.
Mm-hmm. They asked him to coach the one final game.
Well, why wouldn't you just have the assistant who was...
No idea. It was the same thing with Oregon. They had an Oregon coach one game. He's not going to be there next year.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
College does their own thing. I don't know what's going on in there. But anyway, moving on. 2 games left. Jets and Bills. Bills, if they win, they clinch the NFC East and probably the number 4 seed overall in the AFC. Zach Wilson almost gave the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a scare last week, and it didn't happen. But give me the Bills. It's being at home. I think the Jets are ready on 1-2-3 Cancooning it. Give me the Bills by 10 points.
Bills.
All right. Final game. The most important game of the night. Sunday Night Football, where you see Chris Collinsworth slide in into your home screens and bring in the energy as the Chargers and Raiders, not only a rivalry game, but they also face to see who's winner gets in the playoffs, losers going home, unless the Colts lose to the Jags, and then they end in a tie, then they both go, which I think everyone in America is hoping that happens, but just for some funny things to talk about on Monday morning. Chargers visiting the Raiders in Las Vegas, both at 9-7. Winner clinches playoffs berth. Raiders, I just don't know what's going on. I thought they were trading water, and then they go and beat Dallas, and then they win these games. They're winning these games. They beat the Browns after let's just be honest. They beat the Browns because Baker Mayfield's quarterback, but let's just be honest with ourselves. But there's some about Raiders that just keep winning. I like Derek Carr. I want to see him go to the playoffs. I like what they're doing. But give me the Chargers by 3 with Justin Herbert and those weapons.
Give me the Chargers. Though Jacksonville wins and they tie, they both get in. But how do you have that?
Here's the thing.
How do you have that conversation? Like, how do you?
Well, the Chargers head coach already said, no, that's not integrity of the game, whatever the case may be, whatever. But bull crap. He's just basically basing that the Colts are going to win. But the Jacksonville Jaguars win. How do you not both coaches just have instead of injuries, let's just rest up. Let's just kneel the ball 15,000 times and just go home.
You know the NFL is not going to – the NFL, as shady as they are, they won't let no blatant shadiness happen under their watch.
But here's the thing. If they're tied and it goes to overtime, do you start thinking about it?
Yeah. I think that's – No, seriously. If the game – so my thing is if you can if it doesn't be so obvious, right? Where right. Carr's throwing a pick on, you know what I'm saying? It's just obvious shit. But if it gets to OT, I mean, shit, why not?
I would think about it. You have a game next week. Why not? But I mean, it's a rivalry game. You probably want to knock off one team or another just to have your.
Yeah, but
I would honestly.
Yeah.
Hey, my fault. The other team sucked, and they. I mean, just
true.
But anyway, that is the wrap up of our show. Thank you for tuning in for a little bit over an hour. We've gone through everything from National Natty on Monday night to AB and his shenanigans to Aaron Rodgers, if he's a jerk or not, which everyone believes he is, but he's still the MVP, and no one likes Aaron Rodgers except for people in Green Bay for whatever reason. But hey, let me pay tribute to a couple of sponsors. Hey, it's basketball season, and you want anything to go on, check out the Project Spurs on Twitter, man. Go Go check them out on social media. They have everything you need for the Spurs going on. They have all your deaths, all the data, all the analysis. I follow them. That's where I get all my Spurs insight and everything like that. Go check out Project Spurs on Twitter at Project Spurs. They'll have you everything you need to know about the Spurs and also all in the NBA. Also, if you're having car trouble this holiday season and you don't know who to go to the United Collision Care Center. Go to their website at www.unitedcollisiontexan.com or just give them a call at 210-595-6413. Lewis and those guys at United Collision Care Center will have you in and out faster than AB was out on the New York Jets Tampa Bay game last week, but they'll have all their clothes on. I'm pretty much sure about that one. And also DraftKings. Remember, your fantasy league might be over, but DraftKings isn't. The one-day games are all available right now. Make sure you use that promo code to TPPN to get your account started today. www.draftkings/sweep-the-league. One thing great about DraftKings, they have anything from free games all the way up to $100 games, whatever the case may be, wherever your budget has, the DraftKings will have you ready to rock and roll for you as well. That go to DraftKings.com/sweep-the-league and use that promo code TPPN to get started today. And sure, if you want to follow any of us on social media, you can follow me at Trey3025, Coach Geo at Coach Geo, that is 2 O's. Will, who is probably having another birthday dinner tonight, at Will Nation 7. Rudy, the master of all this, at Rudy Sweep the League. Also, you can catch his show every Sunday night from 7 to 9 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer on iHeartRadio, or you can download the app and make sure you listen to them anywhere you want to go. You got to give them a call on the Project Spur hotline as well. If you want to vent about your team, how great your football team is, about the Spurs, about any NBA team you want, NFL team. If you just want to vent for a couple minutes, Rudy and Derek Gervin and all those guys over there, they'll have you hooked up. Just give them a call at 210-308-8867. That is Sweep the League, the radio show, every Sunday night from 7 to 9 p.m. For Coach Geo, I'm Trey Collis. Thank y'all for sticking with us. We have swept the league. Till next week, we'll be back next Tuesday night where we have recap of the NFL playoffs and see if Coach Geo is on sky high and the Georgia Bulldogs are your national champions, or if Kirby Smart just choked again and Geo's underneath the table crying. Till next week, don't miss next week's show, guys. We'll peace out. See you next week.